Ito po si Nico Fabian once again, nandito sa programa natin na Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico, and today is February 19 na po, and hope everything is running smoothly sa inyo po as you start ang Wednesday natin po, today February 18. And of course, tuloy pa rin tayo. I'm going to give you ang mga latest updates regarding ang political activities dyan po sa Pilipinas, as well as some news regarding ang Filipino communities dito po sa Malaysia, particularly sa Sabah is Malaysia, and of course, specifically dito po sa Kota Kinabalu City, which is the only city dito sa Sabah, sa lugar namin po. Okay, tuloy natin po. Now, let's talk about politics. Straight to the point tayo po, no? Straight to the point tayo sa politics. Now, I will just receive an invitation coming from some people, mga supporters ng PDP Laban, as well as SMNI. SMNI, yon media outlet ni Pastor Apollo Quiboloy. And I was made to understand that come Sunday is February 23rd, 23 po. Now, they are going to organize or conduct a PDP Laban Proclamation Day para sa mga kandidato ng PDP Laban, spearheaded by former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, dito po sa Malaysia. Dito po sa Malaysia. Dito, to be particular, dito po sa Kuala Lumpur. And I was made to understand na ang event will be held dyan po sa Sky Ballroom ng Red Hotel Kuala Lumpur sa 23rd of February, ibig sabihin sa Sunday ito po. And they're expecting ano lang ito po, sa mga supporters, invited supporters of PDP Laban, as well as mga friends ng SMNI ni Pastor Quiboloy, at saka mga supporters din ni Pastor Quiboloy, which is si Pastor Quiboloy is one of the aspirants to be a senator dyan sa Pilipinas, and will be participating the midterm election scheduled on May 12. Para if in the event he will win, then he will be among the 24 senators dyan sa Pilipinas. Expected to attend, according to the invitation that I received last night from the organizers, especially from SMNI and PDP Laban group, na they are expecting a total of 500 or more supporters of the political party as well as SMNI to be attending or to attend itong proclamation LDP or PDP Laban proclamation day sa mga kandidato ng PDP Laban. And I was made to understand mga grupo, mga supporters dyan po sa West Malaysia, particularly dyan po sa Johor, sa Penang, and other states, mga Filipino communities po, other states dito sa Malaysia that also include Sabah, now expected to attend the grand event ito po. And sa Sabah, apart from me, they also invited other Filipino community leaders dito po to attend, and wala pa akong confirmation kung sino-sino po will be attending ang PDP Laban Proclamation Day sa February 23rd or sa Sunday. But I received some messages as early as this morning, mga 5:30, that they are asking me if I'm going to attend. To be honest with you, I just came from overseas trip, and I will see if I will have time to attend. Kasi sa Sabado mayroon tayong I cannot miss this very special occasion of my daughter, graduating siya po. And I don't know if I can fly the following day, that is Sunday. But I will see. But in the event I won't be able to attend the proclamation day, that event of the PDP Laban, then I already spoke to the organizers to send me some video clips and also some pictures and details for me to be able to update din po ang mga Filipino communities dito sa Malaysia, particularly dito sa Sabah, na kumusta ang rally. According to the organizer, one of the organizer and spokesperson, si Lester, no? Si Mr. Lester, sabi niya, Sir Nick, this will be a very exciting and memorable, sabihin natin, event for PDP Laban, because Malaysia during the past elections, be it presidential election last 2016, yung tumakbo si former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, at saka yun presidential election din po sa 2022, wherein na nagtandem si Bongbong Marcos at saka si Inday Sara Duterte as a president and vice president respectively. Ang Malaysia po, no? Solid supporting the Duterte candidates. So this time around, as early as last year, when I'm doing my survey, I noticed that ang Malaysia is still a very stronghold of the Duterte, no? Of the Duterte's party or PDP Laban. So I won't be surprised ang outcome ng 2025 midterm election. It will once again show that the Filipinos in Malaysia, no? Qualified voters in Malaysia will continue to give overwhelming support to the candidates of the Dutertes. Yun po. And the event will they will open the door to the invited guests at 9 a.m. Sunday yun po, 9 a.m. And expected to start ang programa nila po at 11 a.m. And it will go onwards. When I asked them kung sino-sino po ang mga invited guests or speakers during the Proclamation Day, I was made to understand that there will be a special guest coming from, or speakers coming from the Philippines, particularly itong mga known vloggers ng PDP Laban, Kagaya nila Banat Bay is a blogger, very popular a blogger. Ang mga Banat Bay vloggers, sino yon? Mga kapatid ni Banat Bay, and I don't know if si Attorney Trixie Angeles will also be coming to share some thoughts regarding ang mga kandidato ng PDP Laban, as well as other bloggers po, very popular bloggers dyan po, and definitely mga vloggers din po, maski na sa Pilipinas sila o sa ibang nasyon, definitely they will be covering it po, no? Either being online, or they will get some video clips, no? Video clips from their counterparts dito po sa Malaysia. So exciting, and let's see po. When I asked them kung okay na ba ang mga permits to hold this kind of Proclamation Day, sabi namang ang organizer sa akin na walang problema. They already, sabihin natin, acquired green light coming from the City Hall of Kuala Lumpur. They also informed already the Philippine Embassy dyan po sa Kuala Lumpur that there will be such an event dyan po sa Sky Ballroom, Red Hotel, Kuala Lumpur sa Sunday. So, sabi nila, wala tayong problema when it comes to permits coming from the local authorities or Malaysian authorities dyan po sa Kuala Lumpur, and they can guarantee, or they guarantee, that this will be a very peaceful gathering among the supporters of the PDP Laban and supporters of Pastor Kibuloy, Apollo Kibuloy, and supporters of the SMNI. Yun po. So, let's see what will happen po. No? Let's see what will happen. And those who wants to attend the Proclamation Day ng PDP Laban, sabi ang organizer, sabi si Mr. Lester sa akin, na it is a free admission. Free admission. Just inform them that you will be attending, and if you want to bring some posters or any campaign materials, no, to show to the public that you are supporting the political party PDP Laban, then you are free to sabihin natin to attend, to attend. And at this very point, I would like to call or urge ang authorities natin dyan sa Pilipinas, especially dyan sa Philippine Embassy sa Kuala Lumpur, no? Please open up and a few more polling centers po during the election dito sa Sabah po, because the last election I was made to understand, or I even cast my votes during the 2026 presidential election. Now I'm staying in Kota Kinabalu, then I have to fly to Sandakan, to vote, and they only have one polling center. So medyo mahirap ang voting dito po sa Sabah, but hopefully by May 12, may time pa kayo po, no? Ang Philippine Embassy do it also in Kota Kinabalu City, dahil po sentro ito po ang Kota Kinabalu City, wherein people from sabihin natin West Coast area, ang Kiningaw, Tambunan, or and then dito din po sa East Coast, ang Beaufort, ang Tawau, ang Ladatu, they will be able to cast their votes. Sana lang po you will seriously look into the clamor ng mga Filipino voters dito po sa Sabah. And of course, just a reminder to our Filipino communities, particularly itong mga qualified voters po na nandito sa Sabah, no? O nandito sa Malaysia. Now, we are entitled to elect our senatorial bets. Senatorial bets po. And at saka siguro isang party list, no? But ang mga congressmen, governors, mayors, no? Be it city, municipal, mayors, vice mayors, konsehal or councilors, now ang mga overseas voters will not be participating po, or they cannot vote for their particular choice, mga mayors, vice mayors, or mga local positions po. Only senators. And don't worry, I will make sure that itong mga voters dito sa Malaysia, particularly dito sa Sabah, I will from time to time remind you kung nasaan po ang polling centers natin to pagdating ang polling day sa May 12. And any other updates regarding sa COMELEC po. Yan po ang latest information that I managed to garner, and of course ang invitation that I received from the PDP Laban group. Now I don't know, there is no information, I don't have any information whether similar event will be organized by the Bongbong Marcos group or ang Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas po. No? I don't know if they will also come to Malaysia and lure ang mga voters, Filipino voters dito po sa Malaysia. Anyway, yon ang latest. Kung sakali mayroon man, then 100% po, I can assure you that immediately I'm going to inform. Para yon mga supporters din ng mga kandidato ni Bongbong Marcos, no? Or Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas, you will also be informed. Fair lang tayo po. Fair lang tayo ang reporting natin po. Trabaho lang, walang personalan. Walang personalan. Okay, today we are going to touch about other issues like ang di nyo ba alam, or maybe you already heard about ang petition to disqualify ang 5 Tulfo siblings, no? Sa election. sa election. And at the same time, mayroon din tayo mga updates regarding ang impeachment. Impeachment ni VP Sara. Medyo nagiging very hot issue ito po, and sobrang delay na po. And some politicians, some leaders, they were saying, kailangan na po na start na talaga ang impeachment trial ni VP Sara. VP Sara. Others were saying, hintayin na lang natin po because ang Senate President, si President Chis Escudero already announced that it will be after the SONA of President Bongbong Marcos sa June, towards the end of June yata yun, or first day of July. So let's see, let's touch on this impeachment po later on dito sa programa natin. That's why I would strongly advise ang mga followers ko po ngayon dito sa programa today na stay with me hanggang matapos itong episode ko po, because a lot of things I'm going to share with you, mga video clippings ko po. And one of the topics I will be touching and show you some video clippings po, ang mga reaction ng mga senatorial bets natin, mga kandidato po, regarding ang issue ng bigas dyan sa Pilipinas. Alright? Okay, to start with, umpisa natin po ang report. Ang report regarding the disqualification of the Tulfo siblings po. Tulfo siblings, na it has something to do with political dynasty. But before sharing with you these clippings, I would like to greet good morning, salamat pagi, to my former colleague, ang editor ng Kadasan na section dyan sa Daily Express, si Marcellus Puvok. And of course, he's also now a blogger, and very interesting. His blogging content are very interesting po. Anything to do with life, local life here in Sabah, here in Sabah. So I would strongly encourage my followers, my viewers, to also watch the blogging of Marcellus Puvok, if you want to know about what is life in Sabah, especially life of specific tribe po, ang Kadasan, Kadasan Duzon dito po sa Sabah. Almost the same with ang ano natin po, ang mga Filipinos po, when it comes to our culture, our tradition, our way of life, parehas na po, almost the same. And even some words, Kadasan Duzon words, you will be able to understand dahil po may similarity ang Filipino, ang Tagalog, ang Bisaya, saka ang even Tausug, Tausug word. So once again, I would like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to my friend si Marcellus, and God bless to you, God bless to your family, to your wife, to your family, and to the Kadasan Duzon community po. That includes ang Burut po. And to all Sabahans and all Malaysians. Alright. Okay. Let's move on. Okay. Let's move on. And this time around, I'm going to share with you the report. The report of the petition to disqualify the candidacy of the Tulfo siblings. Tulfo siblings. A total of 5 of them, the husband, the children, and the wife, so, and then the brothers. So okay, listen to this report of the mainstream media dyan po sa Pilipinas regarding the disqualification of the Tulfo. But before going, sandali lang po, before going pala sa disqualification issue, let me share with you very important very important video clip coming from no other than the leader of the world, leader of the band, leader of the world, ang presidente ng United States of America. I believe this is something that we should. Mr. Marcelus Pupok, listen to this. I think you'll be proud of this thing. Of this thing. Nandito po si President Donald Trump touching on the religion. Ito po. I want to share with you this. Importante ito po. Very important. That's why I am proud to be a Roman Catholic believer. Hold on,
Now more than ever, our nation needs a renewal of the value.
Hold on. Let's listen to this. See, President Donald Trump.
Now more than ever, our nation needs a renewal of the values that this organization promotes, and that the Catholic faithful live out each and every day in peace. We love the Catholic people. We love the Catholic religion. And above all, we respect it greatly. As president, I will always support you in your effort to serve our fellow citizens and to lift up all humanity. I will protect the Catholic Church, and I will defend the rights of religious believers of every race, religion, color, and creed. From the very beginning of our republic, Catholics have uplifted and enriched our nation beyond measure. Now more than ever, our nation needs a renewal of the values the Catholic faithful live out each and every day in peace. As president, I will always support you in your effort to serve our fellow citizens and to lift up all humanity. Every child, born and unborn, is made in the holy image of God. We are fighting for Catholic adoption agencies and fighting hard. And we are defending the sacred right to life. To support the noble mission of Catholic schools, my administration is working to advance school choice. We're once again standing with Catholic charities and healthcare providers, such as the Little Sisters of the Poor. We've been with them all the way in this long fight. I will protect the Catholic Church. We love the Catholic people. We love the Catholic religion. And above all, we respect it greatly.
Okay, that's it. The President of United States of America, talking about the Roman Catholic believers. The Roman Catholic believers. Okay, now let's go to our issue on the disqualification petition against the Tulfo siblings. Ano ba ito po? What is this all about? Okay? So, to start with, saan na yan? Okay? Hold on. Give me a second and I will share with you this complaint or petition po. Let's listen to this. Hold on. Alright. Hold on, Sandali. Or maybe I'll give you a full screen. I'll give you a full screen so that you will be able to, let's say, listen carefully po. Hold on. I'll give you a full screen. Okay?
Siblings, a petition seeking to disqualify members of the Tulfo clan from running in the national and local election was filed before the Commission on Elections. The 22-page petition, dated February 14, 2025, was filed by lawyer Virgilio R. Garcia. He asked the poll body to disqualify ACT-CIS Party's Representative Erwin Tulfo, a candidate for Senator. Re-electionist ACT-CIS Party's Representative Jocelyn Pua Tulfo and her son, Quezon City's 2nd District Representative Ralph Wendell Tulfo. Wanda Tulfo, the first nominee of Party List Turismo, and Ben Tulfo, a senatorial candidate. Erwin, Ben, and Wanda are siblings, while Jocelyn and Ralph are the wife wife and son of Senator Rafael Rafi Tulfo. In his petition, Garcia argued that the respondents are disqualified from seeking public office under Section 26, Article 2 of the 1987 Constitution prohibiting political dynasty. The 1987 Constitution expressly prohibits political dynasty. He pointed out, adding that the intention of the framers of the 1987 Constitution is to prohibit dynasty covering relationship up to the third or fourth degree of consanguinity or affinity of an incumbent, even without the definition by Congress of political dynasty. He added, certainly, 3 brothers in the Senate, a sister, a wife, and a son in the Congress fits perfectly within the prohibition of political dynasty and the degree of relationship intended to be covered by the framers of the Constitution. There is already an existing anomalous and scandalous father, mother, and son in Congress, and this family wants to add 3 more, making a total of 7 of them, all in the same Congress. That is clearly a concentration of political power in one family. The petitioner also pointed out that the respondents are not naturally born Filipinos. The constitutional requirements of a natural-born citizen is an express qualification and must be complied with strictly by all candidates. Suffice it to state that lacking in this requirement will not qualify any aspirant to join the race. In other words, to stress this point, he or she is not a candidate. He explained that natural-born citizens are those who are citizens of the Philippines from birth without having to perform any act to acquire or perfect their Philippine citizenship. The reacquisition of the Philippine citizenship, he pointed out, by returning Filipinos under Republic Act 9225 does not carry with it the restoration of natural-born status because this status, when lost, is gone forever. The petitioner explained, once a natural-born citizen renounces his or her Philippine citizenship, he or she becomes an alien. To reacquire Philippine citizenship, he or she must go through naturalization proceedings just like any other alien. Respondents resided in the United States for quite a long while. They must show to the satisfaction of this commission that indeed they have all the qualification required by the Constitution and none for the disqualification by law. Incited the case of Representative Erwin Tulfo, who was earlier prevented from assuming office as Secretary of Social Welfare and Development because of his questionable citizenship. He served in the U.S. Army and had a U.S. passport. Garcia quoted on the statement, to prevent a mockery of our sacred election process, respondents who all claim to be qualified to run for senator or for congressman because they are naturally born Filipinos must prove before qualified as a candidate that they are indeed natural-born Filipinos.
Alright, that's it. Yun po. And this time around, I will share with you another video clip on the side of the COMELEC, the COMELEC chairman, Commission on Election Chairman, George Garcia, reacting, giving a statement regarding the issue, COMELEC Chairman George Garcia. Alright. Okay, si George Garcia. Hold on. You hold on. I will try to look for George Garcia. And, alright. 207. 207. Saan yun po? 207. 207. Hold on, 207, George Garcia. 207. I cannot find the 207 dito. Anyway, all right. Let's listen to this. 207, COMELEC Chairman Garcia statement. If, 207. I will share with you later on. In the meantime, let's hear the statement of one of the Tulfos, one of the Tulfos. We are talking about Erwin Tulfo, ang reaction niya po, no? The reaction of Erwin Tulfo. 104. 104. Let's listen to Erwin Tulfo's explanation or comment regarding the issue, disqualification issue po. Hold on.
Mga taubayan ko, ayaw yung mga kapatid ko.
And not only Erwin Tulfo, ang mga reaction ng mga Tulfos, no, involved in this disqualification of petition to disqualify them to be a candidate.
Kay Congressman Erwin, nakasulat man sa saligang batas ang political dynasty, wala namang batas na nagpapaliwanag kung ano ang ibig sabihin nito.
Nalaman ko lamang po yun doon sa aking barbero kahapon. Siya po yung nakabasa sa social media. Siya po nagsabi na may nag-file daw.
Higit naman ni Ben Tulfo.
Pabor ako sa anti-political dynasty. Para sa akin, hanggat walang malinaw na batas, enabling law, sino mag-i-implement niya? For now, I trust the wisdom of the Commission on Elections.
Habang ang Turismo Party List ni Wanda Tulfo Teo, kinundina ang disqualification case. Wala raw batas na nilalabag ang mga Tulfo sa pagtakbo nila sa magkakaibang posisyon. Paninira lang daw ito sa kanilang pamilya. Para naman kay incumbent Senator Raffy Tulfo.
Kasi kung gusto ka ng tao, iboboto ka nila. Mga taong bayan ko, ayaw yung mga kapatid ko, please don't vote for them. Pero kung gusto niyo sila dahil sa tingin niyo, pagsilbi sila ng maayos, then go ahead, kayo na mag-decide.
Alright, so that's it. The reaction of the Tulfos, no? Reaction of the Tulfos. Si Erwin Tulfo already reacted. Si Senator Tulfo also reacted. Ang sister niya also reacted. And si Ben Tulfo po, no? So, anong palagay ninyo po? What do you think about this thing? About this thing. And let's move on. Let's move on po sa ang issue natin po. And this time around, I would like to share with you. I would like to share with you ang campaign. Yesterday, I was made to understand that the group of President Bongbong Marcos held their rally somewhere in Pasay City po, no? And the President, Bongbong Marcos, also mentioned again about the joke of President or former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte when he mentioned about, when he jokingly said that killing 15 senators po. And obviously, it was a joke. No? It was a joke. But anyway, let me share you the statement or the speech, a portion of the speech of Bongbong Marcos when it comes to the rally dyan po sa Pasay City. Sa Pasay City. Bongbong Marcos. Hold on, 232. Okay, let's go for 232. 232. But anyway, punta muna tayo po sa before I will forget, punta muna tayo po dyan sa po ang statement ng COMELEC chairman, si George Garcia, regarding this disqualification petition of the Tulfo siblings. Let's listen to this po.
So anong effect?
COMELEC chairman George Garcia was interviewed and asked about the petition for disqualifying disqualifying the Tulfo family. Nandito po. Listen to this explanation of COMELEC chairman George Garcia.
Say natin mukhang maraming issue. Unahin natin yung mga Tulfo. I understand may disqualification case against them. Nagulat lang kami na ang grounds ay political dynasty. E di sabi namin ni Dorset, yan daming dapat tamaan nun, hindi lang yung mga Tulfo. Kung dynasty nga yung ground, Chairman.
Mayorya ang tatamaan.
Ako kahapon po nakita ko rin yung mismong petition, nakabasa ko po yung kabuuan ng petition. Talaga pong nakafocus doon sa issue ng political dynasty. Merong isang paragraph lang na minention tungkol sa ibang ground, katulad ng issue ng citizenship, pero halos isang sentence lang po yung naandun tungkol sa bagay na yon. So again, it's really more on political dynasty, yung po yung inaakusa at yung po yung pinakasentro ng petition na na-file po laban sa kanila.
So anong epekto noon sa kanilang kandidatura kung meron man?
Sa kasalukuyan po lahat na may mga yung umaharap sa mga kasong diskwalifikasyon, lahat sila ay makakatakbo, lahat sila ay naandyan ang pangalan sa listahan, sa balota, at hanggat walang pinal na desisyon ang COMELEC o kaya naman desisyon na executory, lahat ng boto ay valid para po sa kanila. So again, hanggang sa kasalukuyan, hindi po agad may na-file na petisyon ay wala na po yung kanilang kandidatura. Sila po ay kandidato pa rin hanggang sa magkaroon ng final na desisyon.
Pero assuming na magkaroon kayo ng desisyon, tuloy pa rin sila actually kung lumabas bago yung actual na eleksyon dahil hindi naman final ang desisyon, hindi ba?
Yes po, Sir Alvin. Sa amin po, meron po tayo sa division. Ngayong araw na ito, iraraffle po natin sa kung anong division mapupunta siya. At pagkatapos po ay didesisyonan ito ng division. Kung ano man po ang maging desisyon ng division ay subject yan sa motion for reconsideration. At yung MR naman po, Sir Alvin, Ma'am Doris, ay en banc. Kung sakasakali, yan po ay pwedeng i-apila sa Korte Suprema. Ang desisyon po ng COMELEC en banc ay magiging executory 5 araw. Pagkatapos itong madesisyonan, unless may makuha na TRO yung matatalo dito sa kaso.
Opo. Chairman, wala.
Yan po, that's the statement of COMELEC Chairman George Garcia po. In other words, what he's saying is that the Tulfos, they are already included in the ballots, and they're still qualified to run until there will be a decision to disqualify them. In the meantime, everybody is free to vote for any of the Tulfos candidacy. No? They are still qualified. They are still recognized as official candidate for the 2025 May 12 midterm election. Midterm election po. Okay, let's go now to speech, a portion of the speech of Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos during the rally. During the rally po dyan sa Pasay. During the rally dyan sa Pasay. Let's listen to this. Hold on, saan na po? Where is this? Sometimes, nahirapan tayo po ang queuing natin. Hold on po. Nandito po. Let's listen to Bongbong Marcos. Mayroon din konting attack against Ferdinand or former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte during the speech he made during the Pasay rally yesterday. Let's listen to this.
Bago magbigay ng talumpati sa campaign rally ng Alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas sa Pasay, pabirong sinipat ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ang senatorial lineup ng administrasyon.
Pagbigyan niyo po ako at binibilang ko lang yung aming mga kandidato dahil tinitiyak ko na kumpleto at wala pang napasabugan ng Granada.
Ginawa ni Marcos ang kanyang pasaring matapos ang kontrobersyal na pahayag ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Nabanggit kasi ng dating Pangulo na dapat patayin ang 15 senador para makapasok sa Senado ang kanyang mga kaalyado. Naging maanghang naman ang naging patutsada ni Marcos. Anya malinis ang magiging sistema ng kanilang kampanya.
Wala po kayong maririnig na masasamang salita. Wala po kayong maririnig na panakot. Wala po kayong maririnig ng pagmumura.
Ipinangako rin ni Marcos na sa ilalim ng kanilang liderato, walang mangyayaring kaliwat-kaling patayan. Magkakaroon din umano ng disenteng trabaho na hindi tulad ng pogo. Tingin ni senatorial candidate Tito Soto, biro ang sinabi ni Duterte. Pero may paalala siya sa ibang kapwa kandidato.
Pagka pinag-uusapan mga issues, it's better we stick to the issues. Once you start attacking personally, personal attacks on anyone, you have lost the debate.
Si senatorial candidate Benhur Abalos ayaw paapekto sa negative campaigning.
Hindi po kami affected dito. Makakampanya kami, magtatrabaho kami, lalatag namin ang aming performance at tuloy-tuloy namin manuluyo sa mga butante.
Gate naman ni senatorial candidate Ping Lacson, dapat pahupain ang tensyon.
Tumulong na lang tayo mag-escalate, sa halip na mag-escalate. Kasi walang idudulot na maganda ito sa ating mga kababayan, lalo na sa mga pangkaraniwang Pilipino.
Panawagan naman ni senatorial candidate Manny Pacquiao, itigil na ang bangayan.
Kasi tuwing nag-aaway, lahat ng mga leader, especially sa pinakamataas na posisyon, hanggang down to barangay, alam niyo ang naapektuhan yung mga mahihirap na tao.
Tutulak pa Dumaguete at Bacolod ng partido para sa pagpapatuloy ng kanilang campaign rally. Nagbabalita mula sa frontline, Rainiel Pawi, News 5.
Alright, that's it. The reactions of a few senators regarding the attacks using as campaign material or campaign strategy to go for below the belt or attack mode, negative campaigning. So the message is, we prefer that the campaign should be focused on issue-based lang po, no? And this will prevent any unnecessary confusions, problems within the party, within the candidates, and of course for the voters, for the Filipino communities po. Let's go for issue-based. Let the people know. These candidates, you should let the people know why they are supposed, or why you deserve to be supported by the voters po. What are the things that you can do, change the life of the Filipinos po. Not going for negative attacks. These are negative attacks. Who is going for negative attack? It all depends upon you po. My followers. Is it the group of Marcos Jr. or the group of Duterte po? You can see. That's why I keep on telling, lend our ears during campaign sorties, during debates, during rallies po, so that we will be able to judge them and make a very, very wise decision come May 12th, midterm election. Midterm election. Okay. Another issue that I want to raise or share with you, the reactions or comments of the senators, aspirants to be senators. This time around, it is more on the Marcos side. I'm still trying to get some video clips on the side of the Duterte scam. But anyway, wala pa yun po. So I have some video clips regarding mga kandidato ni Bongbong Marcos. And this time, the issue is the high price of rice in the Philippines. Ang bigas po, mahal na mahal ang bigas dyan sa Pilipinas. Anong mga solution? What is the best solution to solve this problem of rising prices of essential goods, especially rice, ang bigas po? Here is some comments when questioned, to the senators po, what are the things or how anong mga reactions nila how to solve the rising price of rice or bigas in the Philippines. To start with, nandito po si aspirant to be senator, si Erwin Tulfo. Si Erwin Tulfo po. Let's listen to his reaction when it comes to the issue of rice. Hold on. All right, let's listen to this.
Review of the rice tarification law. Nung ipinasa po ang rice tarification law, wala po ako sa Congress. And I've been there
I would have objected. Marami pong mali, marami pong butas yung rice tarification law. Inalisan po ng kapangyarihan yung NFA, kaya nagka-leche-leche. Hindi rin po pwede magbenta ng NFA ng bigas. Kaya wala ko na makita. Sabi namin, palitan siguro, kadiwa, rice. Wala pa rin nangyayari. Kailangan natin ng batas. I think it's high time that we review that. Pangalawa, I will also agree with Tito Sec. Kailangan talagang bilhin sa mga farmers kasi mga middleman lang po ang kumikita. Yung farm gate, ganito ang presyo. 18, 19, 20, 22 pesos. Pagdating sa palengke, nasa 40, 50. Kanina, ikot-ikot po kami sa Muntinlupa. May nakita na po ako ng 40 pesos dahil galing na Suneta Ecija, nag-aani na sila.
Okay, next is the aspiring candidate to be senator, neophyte to be a senator is no other than Camille Villar. Anong say ni Camille Villar? Aspirant to be a senator, Camille Villar. Hold on. Same issue pa rin po. Rice issue. Let's listen to Camille Villar.
I agree that with the suggestions of my colleagues that perhaps right now for us to bring down the price of rice ngayon as soon as possible, we may have to look into the government subsidizing or buying the rice for the farmers. In the longer term, yes, perhaps the RTL should be reviewed like all laws kasi times change. So, nung napasa po yan, may mga factors na na-consider, there were certain conditions, pero hindi naman natin mapagkakailan na matagal na rin yung panahon at iba na rin yung conditions ngayon at dapat ma-review na yan. Pero in the long term, para siguraduhin natin yung supply ng bigas at siguraduhin natin yung food security natin, we should also empower our farmers and make sure that the infrastructure is there and the support is there for them to produce rice efficiently and at a lower cost. So, yun yung mas long-term solution for them.
Alright, from Camille Villar, let's go to another one. Benhar Abalos. Benhar Abalos. Hold on. Let's listen to Benhar Abalos.
Sinabi ni, I recall it right, ang sabi ni Secretary Laurel ay kung pwede daw ibalik sa NFA ang full authority na parang mag-angkat at magbenta kasi marami silang buffer stock, marami sila at kung maibibenta lang nila ito, malaking bagay to stabilize the prices. I think it's worth looking into kasi matagal na itong rice tarification. Of course, may amendment tayo kailan lamang, tignan na natin ito, but very disturbing itong sinabi ng no less than the Secretary of the Agriculture. Maganda intensyon, but sinabi niya pa ito, minamanipulate ng ilang cartel ang bigas, which is really very obvious. So how do you fight it? One thing is, siguro through this, tignan natin if baka pwede ibalik natin itong full powers na binigay na ito. It could be reviewed.
Alright, that is aspirant to be a senator, Benhar Abalos. And next is another aspirant under the Partido or Alianza group is no other than Congresswoman, former mayor of Makati City, si Abby Binay. Let's listen po to Abby Binay. Hold on.
Wala pa naman po tayo nababalitaan na nakukulong, napaparusahan na smuggler ng rice o na nagmamanipula ng presyo ng bigas. Yun po siguro ang kailangan nating tutukan. Siguraduhin na may maparusahan at mahuli at maparusahan na yun na sila ang dahilan kung bakit mataas ang presyo ng bigas.
Okay, that's it. Binay po, no? the issue on rice. Mahal ang bigas dyan sa Pilipinas. And lastly, siguro po, I will share with you ang reaction din po ni yung boxer natin sa Pilipinas. Sino ba yan? Si Pacquiao? Manny Pacquiao. Let's listen to Manny Pacquiao. Sana yun? Ito na ba? Hold on, ha? Ito ba ang statement ni Manny Pacquiao when it comes to the rice?
PDC. Hindi po ito posted.
Hold on. Andito po.
Kasi yung mga kababayan natin, yung mga basic commodities, nagreklamo sila dahil sa mahal na mabilihin. At mayroon akong suggest na ginawang programa para sa DA, yung programa pang national, tinatawag ito na PDC. Hindi po ito postdated child connect, production, distribution, and consumption. Itong programa na to, pangkalahatan, talagang nakukontrol ng gobyerno. May say talaga palagi ang gobyerno, especially kung ano yung mga basic commodities na shortage tayo, na at least na napagtuunan ng pansin at nalagyan ng nalalaanan ng budget yearly para i-increase yung production. Dito naman sa distribution, very crucial din ito at napaka-importante dahil ang kumikita yung mga middleman. Kasi may na-encounter ako, nag-ikot ako sa buong Pilipinas. May isang farmer doon na bagong ani siya, and then tinanong ko, magkano po pili sa produkto ninyo? Magkano po per kilo? Binili sa kanya ng almost 50 pesos per kilo. And then, tuntuan na siya, yung farmer.
Yan po, si Manny Pacquiao, former senator of the Philippines, and now he wants to go back to the Senate. No? And he ran as a presidential candidate during the 2022 presidential election, and he lost. He didn't manage to make it, and he was on the other side. He was not with Marcos, and this time around, he is supporting Marcos po. He is supporting Marcos. Now, let's go to ano ito po. Punta muna tayo kay Attorney Vic Rodriguez. When we talk about the issue of issue ng joke ni Digong, no? About killing 15 senators, and ang complaint ng Police Major General Torre regarding ang issue ng joke ni Duterte. Let's listen to Attorney Vic Rodriguez. Attorney Vic Rodriguez po regarding the issue. And then after that, we go to another issue. Hold on po. Sandali, Sana yan. Okay. Let's listen to this.
Senador Jinggoy Estrada. Naman po natin na nagsalita na yung mismong direktor ng NBI. Walang inciting to sedition sapagkat wala naman pong public uprising o kaya yung tumultuous na yung kaguluhan. Wala po yun. Yun po yung elemento ng inciting to sedition, yung Article 142 ng ating revised penal code. At yan po ay magaganap lamang kung meron po rin makakapagpatunay na nagkaroon ng violation ng Article 139 ng revised penal code, yung tinatawag po nating sedition. Malinaw po doon sa naging pahayag ng mismong direktor ng NBI, biro lang yung salitang yan, joke lamang. At kahit mismo yung Senador Jinggoy Estrada na nagdiriwang ng kanyang kaarawan kahapon, happy birthday sa iyo, Senator Jinggoy, sinabing yung konteksto niyan ay isang biro, malinaw na biro. It was said in jest and not to be taken seriously. Sapagkat alam naman ho natin kung ano ang karakter ni Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte pag siya ay nakikipag-usap sa kanyang mga followers. At through the years, subok na po yan. That is how he connect with his listeners. Ngayon, kung ayaw niyong pakinggan si Pangulong Duterte, mag-ipat kayo o maghanap kayo ng ibang social media platform o di kaya kung saan man kayo nanonood, lumipat po kayo. At wag na naman kayong gumawa ng isa na namang distraction or deviation. Bycam report.
Okay, yan po ang statement ni Attorney Vic Rodriguez. This time around, let's go to the impeachment issue. Impeachment issue po. To start with the impeachment issue, nandito po ang news report sa impeachment issue po. Hold on. Impeachment. Saan na ito? 214. Hanap tayo ng 214. 214. Nandito po. Let's listen to this. 214.
Kanina sa Korte Suprema ang ilang abogado upang hilingin ang pagpapawalang bisa sa impeachment complaint laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Ang nasabing petisyon ay mula sa ilang Mindanaoan lawyers na kilala rin bilang mga kaalyado at taga-suporta ng pamilya Duterte sa pangunguna ni na Atty. Israelito Torion, Atty. Martin Delgra at Atty. Luna Acosta. Ayon kay Atty. Israelito Torion na kilala ring legal counsel ni Apollo Kibuloy, hiling nila na mag-issue ng Temporary Restraining Order o TRO ang Korte Suprema na layong ipaisang tabi at pawalang bisa ang impeachment complaint laban kay VP Duterte. Aniya naniniwala sila na mayroong malaking kakulangan sa nasabing impeachment complaint. Paliwanag ni Atty. Torion, lumalabag ito sa ilang mahahalagang probisyon ng konstitusyon at walang sapat na batayan sa jurisdiksyon, kaya dapat aniya itong ibasura at hindi ipagpatuloy ng Senado.
It is a violation of pertinent constitutional provisions and it is likewise jurisdictionally void. And the same should be dismissed and not entertained by the Senate of the Republic of the Philippines. That, in essence, is the foundation of our complaint. It is very defective because, first, it did not consider the 3 priorly filed impeachment complaints.
Kinwestiyon din ng mga petitioner ang prosesong isinagawa ng Kamara sa impeachment ng pangalawang Pangulo. Paglilinaw ni Atty. Torion na may malaking depekto ang impeachment complaint. Una, hindi nito kinonsidera ang 3 naunang impeachment complaints. Nilabag rin umano nito ang due process para sa pangalawang Pangulo at hindi nito sinunod ang itinakdang proseso ng verification ayon sa konstitusyon.
If the 3 complaints were entertained, included in the order of business within 10 session days, and included within 3 session days in the Committee of Justice, referred to the Committee of Justice, then the 1-year bar rule would have operated and the 4th impeachment complaint should not have been legally entertained.
Alright, yun po ang issue ni impeachment complaint and yun po, nag-file na po ng petition ang grupo ni Atty. Terion po, no? Regarding ang impeachment complaint and they want that the court will issue a TRO. TRO po. Now, ano kaya ang stand ni Senator Coco Pimentel? Earlier, he was saying na medyo pabor siya po sa no? I don't know, is it the right word, pabor siya na hindi mag-agad-agad push through ang impeachment trial ni VP Sara. But this time around, let's listen to this, ang report. I managed to record po, no? Video clip ito po. And let's listen to this. Saan na yun? 240. Sandali. 240. Medyo... Okay, hold on. Ang dami. 240. Okay, let's listen to this news report po sa Maynila.
Natanggap na si Senador Coco Pimentel sa liderato ng Senado para hilingin na simulan ng impeachment trial laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Sa kanyang sulat, sinabi ni Pimentel na nakasaad sa Article 11, Section 3, Paragraph 4 ng Konstitusyon ang salitang forthwith. Nangangahulugan ito na dapat agad-agad magsagawa ng paglilitis kapag natanggap ang Articles of Impeachment mula sa 1/3 ng mga kongresista. Sa Merriam-Webster's Online Dictionary anya, ang katagang forthwith ay nangangahulugan ng without delay o without interval of time na sa Pilipino translation ay agad. Ang synonym o kasing kahulugan nito ay madali, bigla, karakaraka, nang ibig sabihin ay dapat may urgency. Iginit ng senador na duty o katungkulan ng Senado na agad umaksyon sa impeachment case laban sa Vice President. Dahil din sa bigat na impeachment proceedings, nararapat na isagawa ng Senado ang katungkulang ito ng may urgency, diligence at matatag na commitment sa saligang batas. Ayon kay Pimentel, natanggap na ito ng opisina ni Escudero batay sa reply ng kanyang tanggapan pero wala pang pahayag ang Senate President. Ganito rin ang posisyon ni Senate Majority Leader Francis Tolentino sa issue ng impeachment. Pero sabi ni Tolentino, makabubuti na hintayin ang magiging desisyon ng Korte Suprema sa mga petisyon na humihiling na umaksyon na ang Senado sa issue. Sabi ni Tolentino, pwedeng magpatawag ng meeting ang liderato ng Senado para masimulan ang trial.
Hindi naman part ng legislative calendar yung impeachment. Siguro yan, step by step yung Committee on Rules. Take note and revisit Resolution number 39, which was adopted March 23, 2011. And then if there is a need to improve that, submit that to the entire body, and then for the Senate members to take their oath, get political neutrality, and then
Pero para kay Senator Amy Marcos, hindi kailangang gawin agad ng Senado ang impeachment trial dahil hindi naman ito urgent. Sa Kamara, inabot niya ng 2 buwan bago na ipasa sa Senado ang impeachment case, kaya bakit daw mamadaliin ng mga senador ang pag-aksyon dito?
Alright, yun po. You heard mga senador, they gave their reaction tungkol sa impeachment po. Now, regarding itong campaign period natin po sa mga senador, now let's listen ang statement din po ni Senator Amy Marcos, ang super ate, ang kapatid ni President na Bongbong Marcos. She was asked about anong masasabi mo sa sitwasyon now dyan sa Pilipinas. And nandito po, let's listen to this. 32. Let's listen to this po. Amy Marcos, Senator Amy Marcos.
Ang Visayas, Mindanao na kung na yung totoo, masama talaga ang nangyayari sa ating bansa. Parang biniyak. Yung turo ng tatay ko na isang bansa, isang diwa ay naisang tabi. Kaya nakakalungkot dahil parang nahati ang ating bansa. Ang Luzon nasa isang panig, ang Visayas, Mindanao nasa kabilang panig. Parang lumalawak ang hidwaan. Ayoko nang ganoon. Sana nagkakaisa tayong Pilipino.
Alright. Yan po, si Amy Marcos. At saka, mayroon pa rin. Reaction ni Senator Amy Marcos tungkol itong mga atake, negative attacks, no? From both parties. Ang grupo ni Marcos at saka ang grupo ni Duterte. Let's listen to si Amy Marcos. Si Amy Marcos. 132. Okay, let's listen to this.
Yung paninira ng kabila, rule, ayoko kasi nagbabanatan sa eleksyon. Para sa akin, very self-defeating and unconstructive. Yung bira ng bira, mas maganda para sa akin, ipaliwanag mo kung ano ang nagawa mo at ano pa ang plano mong gawin para makatulong sa tao, para iboto ka. Yung paninira ng kabila, hindi ako komportable. Naiilag ako kasi kung minsan nakikita sa mukha ko
Ma'am, yung binabanggit po ng mga kasama niyo sa alyansa, several of them already said that they're pushing and binanggit natin said 12-0. Kayo po ba, do you also wish na 12-0 din from alyansa yung mananalo?
Well, medyo sentimental ako, no? Kasi may kasamahan ako na kumampanya noong 2019. Sama-sama kami ni Mongo at saka ni Bato. So, parang wala, magkakasama kami sa Senado, magkasama kami sa kampanya. Tapos, yun nga, yung sinasabing 12-0, hindi ko alam. Hindi ko alam kung anong mangyayari. Hindi naman tayo forecaster. Siguro, antayin na lang natin at todo trabaho na lang tayo. Marami tayong kaibigan magkabila di ba? Kaya nga naging independent at hindi ko gusto yung birada ko minsan. Nasasaktan ako sa magkabilang birahan.
Okay, so, yan po ang statement ni Super Ate Amy Marcos. Nasaan ba siya? Doon ba siya sa grupo ni Marcos, ang kapatid niya? O nandito siya kay VP Sara? No? Ang daming mga comments, speculations, chismis, marites tungkol sa stand ni Super Ate Amy Marcos. So siguro po hanggang dito na lang po, no? Ang episode natin for today, February 19, and today is Wednesday. And nasa na lang po, maskin paano, in one way or the other, I managed to give you the news that you deserve. And at the same time, I managed to entertain you as you start the day, Wednesday, today, February 18. So with this, I would like to say once again, thank you very much for making me a part of your day. And of course, Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all. And good luck to everybody. And I see you tomorrow. Bye.